What if the Wednesday cast didn't just change after the show, but went through transformations no one saw coming? Behind the fame, there are hidden pressures, unexpected controversies, and career shifts that completely changed their lives in 2026. Some became global icons overnight, while others faced moments that almost ended everything. So here's the real question in this video. What actually happened after the spotlight faded, and what secrets were never meant to be seen? The fame explosion no one was ready for. Let's rewind for a second. When Wednesday dropped, it didn't just succeed, it dominated. The show broke records, flooded social media, and turned a single dance scene into a global trend. And overnight, everything changed. Actors who were living relatively normal lives suddenly became global celebrities. Interviews, paparazzi, brand deals, it all came at once, faster than anyone could mentally process. But here's the part no one talks about. Success that fast is dangerous because when your life changes overnight, your mind doesn't catch up at the same speed, and that gap creates pressure most people never see. And this is where the then versus now story really begins, not with success, but with pressure and the hidden struggle that comes with maintaining that level of attention. Jenna Ortega, then versus now, the fame that changed everything. Before Wednesday, Jenna Ortega was rising, but still chasing opportunities. After Wednesday, she became the opportunity. By 2026, she's not just acting, she's dominating. Major Hollywood roles, luxury fashion deals, global influence. Everywhere you look, she's there, almost impossible to ignore. But here's the secret that changes everything. The more famous you become, the less freedom you have. Before, she could experiment with roles, take risks, and grow naturally. Now, every decision is watched, every performance is compared, and every move is judged, even the smallest details. And in interviews, she's hinted at something most people ignore. Fame isn't just exciting, it's exhausting. So when you compare then versus now, you're not just seeing success, you're seeing the cost of it, and how heavy that cost can become over time, especially when the world expects perfection at every step. Emma Myers, then versus now, the strategy no one noticed. Now this is where things take a completely different turn, because Emma Myers didn't follow the same path. Before Wednesday, she was almost invisible in mainstream media. After the show, she didn't explode, she built. And that's the difference most people miss. While others were overwhelmed by sudden fame, Emma moved quietly, taking on more roles, building steady growth, and strengthening her presence without chaos or unnecessary attention. And here's the hidden secret. The loudest success isn't always the longest. By 2026, she has something many viral stars don't: stability. And in Hollywood, that's more powerful than hype, because it gives you control over your own career instead of being controlled by fame, which often leads to longer-term success. Hunter Doohan, then versus now, the role that almost defined him. Now here's where things get interesting. Before Wednesday, Hunter Doohan had flexibility. He could take on different roles without expectations. After the show, that flexibility disappeared because audiences started seeing him as one thing. And this is where many actors get stuck: typecasting. But here's where his story shifts. Instead of staying safe, he started choosing darker, more complex roles, slowly changing how people see him and breaking the image step by step. And this reveals a brutal truth about fame. Getting known is easy, but escaping what you're known for is the real challenge, and very few actors manage to do it successfully, especially when audiences refuse to separate the actor from the character. Now pause here, because this is where everything takes a sharp turn. Before, Percy was on a clear rise, with a strong fan base, growing attention, and a future that looked almost guaranteed. Then suddenly, everything shifted. Online controversy started spreading, allegations, discussions, debates, and whether proven or not, the impact was instant and impossible to ignore. And here's the dangerous part. The internet doesn't wait, it reacts. And once a narrative begins, it becomes almost impossible to stop, no matter what the truth is. So when you compare then versus now, it's not just a career change, it's a complete shift in perception. And in today's world, perception is everything, sometimes even more powerful than reality itself, especially when millions of people form opinions within seconds and amplify them globally. Catherine Zeta-Jones, then versus now, the reinvention most didn't expect. Now let's shift to someone who already had success. Before Wednesday, Catherine Zeta-Jones was respected, but mostly by older audiences. After the show, she reached a completely new generation, and that changes everything. By 2026, she's not just remembered, she's relevant again. And here's the secret behind that. Fame can fade, but reinvention brings it back. And very few actors manage to do that successfully, especially across completely different generations where audiences constantly change and attention spans keep getting shorter, making long-term relevance even harder to maintain. Luis Guzman, then versus now, from doubt to respect. Now here's a transformation no one predicted. When Luis Guzman was first cast, many fans doubted the decision because he didn't match the traditional image people expected. But over time, that changed. His performance added something different: emotion, authenticity, and depth that people didn't notice at first. And by 2026, what was once questioned is now respected. And this reveals something important. First impressions don't always decide the outcome. Sometimes the things people doubt the most become the most memorable and leave the strongest long-term impact, especially when they bring something unique that others cannot replicate and slowly win over even the harshest critics. The hidden pressure no one sees. Now think about this. Playing a role like Wednesday doesn't just give you fame, it locks you into an identity. Fans expect consistency, studios expect performance, and social media expects perfection. And once that pressure starts, it doesn't stop. Every role gets compared, every move gets judged, and every mistake gets amplified, often beyond what is fair. And this is the part fans never see. Behind the success, there's constant pressure to maintain it, even when it becomes overwhelming and mentally exhausting over long periods of time, especially when expectations keep rising with every new project. Over time, that pressure can affect confidence, creativity, and even personal life in ways that are never visible to the public. And the more successful someone becomes, the harder it is to step away or slow down without disappointing millions of people watching. Why 2026 feels so different today? Because time reveals the truth. When the show first came out, everything looked perfect. Everyone was trending, everyone seemed successful, and everything felt unstoppable. But now the differences are clear. Some careers skyrocketed, some stabilized, and some faced setbacks no one expected. And this is what then versus now really means. Not just change, but direction and the paths people take once the initial spotlight fades and reality begins to settle in, showing who adapts and who struggles to keep up. It highlights how short-term hype often hides long-term challenges that only become visible with time. And in many cases, the real journey begins after the spotlight fades, not during the moment of fame itself. The biggest secret behind fame. Now here's the one thing most people don't understand. Fame is not fair. Two people can start at the same point and end up in completely different places. Why? Because success isn't just talent, it's timing, decisions, pressure handling, and sometimes just luck. And that's the part no one can control, no matter how hard they try or how talented they are, which makes fame one of the most unpredictable things in the world, where outcomes rarely follow expectations. Some people get opportunities at the perfect moment, while others miss them by seconds and never recover. And that's why fame looks like a straight path from the outside, but in reality, it's full of unpredictable turns that no one can fully plan for. So the next time you watch Wednesday, look closer. Because you're not just watching a show, you're watching the beginning of real stories that went in completely different directions. Some became bigger than expected, some changed quietly, and some faced moments that almost changed everything. And that's what makes this story powerful, because behind every then versus now, there's a reality still unfolding, and it hasn't reached its final chapter yet. If this video made you see your favorite cast differently, then you're already thinking deeper than most people watching this, because the real story is never just what happens on screen, it's what happens after the fame hits. If you want to be smarter every day, like and subscribe.